Hey everybody, this is Jim Buck with Black Series Campers of Southern California out of the City of Industry. And today we're going to be going over how to set up the awning on one of our tent trailers. Now we have several different ones. We have our Sergeant and our Alpha and our Dominator and our Patron, and they're all pretty much the same in how they set up. So what I'm going to be using today is our Classic Double. It's got one of the largest awnings on all of our units. So we're going to go ahead and get things set up, and we're going to go get put it together. Let's do this. So one of the first things that we want to do is we want to find out what our diagram is and what poles are going to go where. So we open up the container. Now, not all of them are in the same place, but on this unit, it's on the front door, kind of like with our Dominator and our Patron, they are on the front door, and our Alpha and Sergeant, they're in one of the small compartment doors. So we're going to look at this. Now, there's two different colors of pipes. So if you want to squeeze in here real quick and look, the black is going to indicate the poles that are already mounted inside the trailer. All of the red ones are indicating all of the poles that are for the exterior portions. So these are for the windows, for the awnings, and this is going to be for the front awning area. And so we're going to use this to create our awning, and then later on, we're going to build the walls and enclose this entire thing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to look, and if you come up over here, as to the compartment. Now in this part, we've already taken out the poles, we've already laid them out, but usually in this unit, there's two drawers here, and that's where the bag of poles goes. So what we like to do is we've already taken them out, and we've already sectioned them out by way of number, 1 through 14, I believe it is. Now, all of the numbers that come with this unit may not be the same size poles, length, stuff like that, that you find on another unit. So what we're gonna do is make sure you're paying attention. Don't go off of the numbers I'm using here, go off the numbers that you can find on your guides. Okay, now there's several different ways that we've put these trailers together, put these tents together. And so this is the way that I found that really kind of works the best. And so what I like to try to do, I like to try to protect the material as much as I can. So one of the things that I do is I like to utilize the floor of what's going to create the room. So I'll actually take out the whole flooring because it's used to being walked on, and I'll lay that out. That way if there's dirt, if there's mud, whatever it may be, it's already protected. So that way when I take out the section that's going to make the awning or your roof, because it's not typically getting walked on, this way then what I'll do is I'll lay it out. So this way everything we're semi-protected, or at least as best as we can. So I lay it out, I get it stretched out, and then eventually what we're going to be doing is we're going to be zipping and Velcroing this part to the top up here once we get everything deployed out. So one of the things that you have to do to create this awning is you have to build the metal structure so that way you have the house. So one of the special poles we have is this is our number 1 pole. It's an extension pole, and so it's got a hook on the end of it, and on the other end it's got a flat single pole piece that a pin will slide through, and that's on the other end for the leg. So as you look over here, this is part of the framing for the tent itself, and I'm going to push this tent out, and you can look, if you can kind of see, there's an eye bolt here. I'll turn it there so you can see it. So there's an eye bolt. So essentially what's going to happen is you see a little sock right here, and the sock is an opening on the outside. The curved part is going to come through the opening, and what you're going to do is you're going to hook it. Here, I'll even hook it on this side so you can see it. You're going to hook it into the eye bolt. So the pole will be coming through the hole. This is going to connect in, and then this is how you're going to build the structure that everything is going to be attaching to. So in order to give myself a little bit of height, I'm actually standing on the step of the trailer itself. So if you need more height, it's perfectly fine to do that. You can kneel inside, you can stand on the step, whatever you need to do. So what I'm going to do, like I said, there's a little sock right here, and you kind of push the eye bolt out, so that way I can access it very easily. I can connect it in, and then I'm going to pull the sock over it, this little sock here, and I'm going to cinch this. Now the reason why that's important is because when you leave this hanging, what happens is the hook can pop out, which is very bad. You don't want to pop it out and hitting anybody. Now another thing that you can do is if you actually flip it over, so then the hook is coming from the bottom and hooked instead of from the top and hooked. But this way it's all done correctly. So here's your wing nut, so you can loosen a little bit, okay? Again, make sure it's nice and easy and accessible, so that way you can loosen things, because you are gonna be extending out quite a bit with it. Now, one of the things you can do from this point on is you can go ahead and connect all the other poles just like this one. That way you're ready to go. Okay, so now that we have all of the poles put in place, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 poles put in place. So now what we need to do is we need to attach our roof. Now, like all of our roofs, they have a heavy duty zipper and this nice thick Velcro. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up here. Now I gotta get up just a little bit higher on it. So again, we have our step stool that comes with the unit. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here, pull myself some slack, get up in here, and then I'm gonna attach my zipper. Now this part can be a little difficult, but it can be done. Now obviously it can be done a little bit easier if you have more help, but you can do it by yourself if you have to. So now that we have it started, all is simply you have to do is just kind of feed it and pull. Now once you've gone a little bit, it sometimes can be helpful if you take the top edge and fold it down to help hold the rest of it in place. Now you're just gonna go all the way across. Now you do run into some height differences over here. Now again, you can get back into the tent trailer if you want and reach out and pull it through, or I have a little trick that I also do. So here's one of the little tips, or one of the little things that I do when the zipper gets up towards the top half, if I don't wanna climb inside of the tent trailer. I grab one of the extra poles that has a hook on it. And then all I do is very simply, now you can do it with a step stool. I like to just do it this way if I can. I come in here, I hook it. I usually go from underneath, I'll hook it. And then what I'll do is as I kind of walk along, I'll lift up my tent part and just kind of pull it. And what I'll do is I'll zip it all the way across as we go across. All right, so now that I have the zipper all the way to the end, again, we need to bring down our flap so that way we can make sure we're sealing our Velcro. So another thing I'll do is I'll take the same pole and I'll just kind of gently push down all the Velcro. All the high up area stuff, that's not the easiest to grab. So I just kind of smooth it all down, make sure it's all stuck. And the nice part is too, is I have a hook. If something's flipped up, I can grab it and pull it down. But otherwise, we're just smoothing down the Velcro so that way we have a nice clean seal. That way we're not getting any rain, dust, dirt inside our living space when we're out back or out camping, out in the nature, out in the forest, out in the desert, wherever your adventure takes you. Okay, so now that we have the entire top zippered on and Velcroed down, what we need to do is we need to raise up one part. Now, I found that the best and most important part to raise up is the very center one. Don't worry about the other poles, worry about the very center one first. So the center pole for this unit is the number 5 pole. It's a nice tall pole. And I'm not gonna run it up all the way tall, but I am gonna run it out so that way we have some room. As you can kind of see, the entire roof is back against the unit, so you can't see what's going on. So we're gonna create some space for ourselves. So we'll get inside and you can see what it looks like. Okay, so now we're inside and we usually have a push up against us. We have our pole that we connected. Now I already went ahead and I loosened the wing nut and I made sure that I rotated it. Remember, you wanna have the wing nuts pointing down so you can access them. Otherwise it's pushing up in the tent. You don't wanna be doing that and you can't access it very well. So I have this, I'm gonna loosen a little bit so it'll slide, and then I'm gonna take the pin, and if you remember earlier, the pin hole that's on this pole. So I'm gonna run it in here. All right, so that way it's in there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm also going to loosen the leg or the wing nut on this one. And then what I'll do is I'm just gonna very easily walk this out to the hole that this will go in. And I'm gonna push it up a little bit. Now I don't wanna stand it upright, because if I stand it upright, it has the tendency to maybe wanna fall over or go other places. So what I tend to do is I'll set my wing nut and I'll leave it kind of at a little jaunty angle, so that way it's not gonna go anywhere. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the poles that cover all the other holes, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing. So now that we have all of the poles put in place, essentially we've lifted up the roof. So I want to show you just how I have it set. And again, this is, of all the times I've set it up, this is the way that it works the best that I've come to use, okay? So if you kind of come at an angle here and you look, I have the poles at an angle. You don't want it to stand straight up, otherwise it will tilt over. Now the end poles as well, not only are they at an angle, I also took the end and tilted it in so it's pushing outwards, because otherwise, if you stand it up like this, it's gonna fall in. So if you put it at an angle, it's kind of pushing out, helps to hold it up, okay? Now, what I like to do next, if you come inside with me, what we're gonna be doing is all of the support poles have Velcro straps that help to hold it in place. So I like to do the back half of the Velcro strap, because the front half, you can see a Velcro strap here, you can see a Velcro strap here. Those, there's still some potential for adjustment here, but the back half is not gonna get adjusted. That's gonna stay in place. So what I like to do is I like to come up, I'll get my step stool, or I'll stand on my step over here, and I'll do all the Velcro, the back Velcro, for all of these before continuing on. Okay, so now that I've gotten the back Velcro sections put in place, now I need to put in the crossbars, the supporting crossbars. Now this unit has 2 sets of crossbars that go across. Now, even though I have everything raised up and I have step stools, I have a little trick that I also use too. Because sometimes if you come in here and you push and push and push, you might knock the pole out, which has happened in the past. So what I'll do is I'll come in at an angle with the clip, it's this rounded clip, I'll come in at an angle with the clip and I roll it on. So that way you're not pushing and knocking things out of place. And again, I'm gonna loosen my wing nut, rotate it so I got my wing nut down, or at least facing in a direction I can access it, because unfortunately the way this one is working. So then I'm gonna extend out. Now this one, this side's a little bit lower, so I can reach this and I can clip that right on. And then I can come back and I can tighten the wing nut as best I can. Now if I need to, again, I can get to my step stool and get up my height. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and finish off both sections. So when we come back, there's gonna be 2 rows of support bolts going across. All right, so now that we have all of the cross port supporters up there, now we're gonna go for the flat tip supports. And these are gonna go along the point poles. So what we're gonna have to do is we're actually gonna have to lift this up. So I'm gonna do one, make sure your wing nut is down. You lift it up, slip it underneath, and put the pin back in place. Then you're gonna come over and do the other side. So you're gonna slide across, you're gonna come up, fit the pin in, and put the pin, the ring back on the tent. Then we're gonna do this all the way across. So we have these little caps, and the caps will actually go over the pin and push down tight. Now it does one of 2 things. One, if it starts raining, what happens is the water will come down and the cap will actually divert it. Now the tautness of the cap will also keep the tent from creeping up on you. So that way when you're pushing up to put the poles on, it'll stay in place. So now that we've gotten all of our extension poles up, all of our support poles, we still do have 2 remaining poles that we're gonna need to put on the ends in the middle, but I'll get to those at the last. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get up and all of the poles that we left loose earlier, now we're gonna stretch them all out. What I like to do is I like to come to the top one, top middle, where the whole thing started, and then I will loosen the wing nut if it's tight, which it's not, and I'm gonna go ahead and extend this out and tighten everything up. Once I've tightened this up, since I'm already here, I can attach my Velcro, the Velcro that we left off earlier. Now, once we've done this, once we get our Velcro on, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extend out all of the other poles, and then I'm gonna extend out all of our side support poles. All right, so now that we've gotten all of our extension poles extended out, tightened in place, we have all of our Velcro places in piece, holding the pipes down. Now it's time to raise the roof. Woo woo! So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here. Now keep in mind, we had this snug down so that way it's not going anywhere, it's not dropping on us. So we're gonna grab the wing nut and we're gonna extend up. Now we don't wanna extend too high, but we wanna get it to where this is just about level. So you're gonna raise it up to about where you think it needs to be. You're gonna tighten your wing nut. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna make all of your adjustments to all the other poles as you go along. So that way everything is pretty much even. Because later on, when you put the room together, You want everything to be at an equal height. So there you go, everybody. That's how you put together the awning on a Black Series tent trailer. And so again, it's the same when you go with a Patron, a Dominator, an Alpha, or a Sergeant. Just make sure you're paying attention to the map that's on your door. Make sure that you're paying attention to the numbering system on all of the poles and all the little tips and tricks that I help throw out in there for you. So make sure you pay attention, you clue in to our next series, which is we're gonna be putting together the entire annex, the entire room, and we're gonna enclose this unit. And again, it's pretty much the same for all of the other units. So again, this is Jim Buck from Black Series Campers, Southern California, saying get out there, find your adventure, have a great time, everybody. Thanks for coming out, thanks for watching. How you doing, everybody? This is Jim Buck with Black Series Campers of Southern California out of the City of Industry. And we hope that you enjoyed the last video of a series that we just got finished watching. And what we'd like to do is we'd like to ask to make sure that you please like and subscribe to our channel so that way you can see all of the videos that are coming up in our series. So make sure that you get out there, you smash that bell up in that corner up there. And again, this is Jim Buck with Black Series Camper, saying we hope you enjoyed that video. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.